Welcome to Unlock 360, the podcast for champions of public education. Here we explore the connection between leadership, teaching, and learning, and reveal the keys to getting better results for all students. Each episode highlights a change maker who's turning vision into action and creating schools where both educators and students thrive. Hello and welcome back, everyone. I am super excited. We are joined today by Katy Nagaj of Willoughby-Eastlake City Schools in Ohio. Katy is the Director of Teaching, Learning, and Innovation. Welcome, Katy.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
So cool to have you. Will you please start us off with just a brief 30 to 60-second introduction of yourself?
Sure. My name is Katy Nagaj. I am currently serving as a Director of Teaching, Learning, and Innovation in Willoughby-Eastlake City Schools, which is in Lake County, Ohio. My educational path started in 2000 when I started as an elementary school teacher. I taught first and second grade for about 18 years and then moved into building leadership as an assistant principal for just 1 year. And then I was an elementary principal for a small district in Lake County as well, serving about 1,000 students total, but I was an elementary building of about 500 K-5. From there, have joined the Willoughby Slake District to serve here in a director role. I think from the time I can remember, I always just knew that I wanted to be a teacher. Um, I've listened to some of your previous podcasts, and it's been interesting to hear people's journeys. Some, not knowing what they wanted to do and finding a pathway in education. For me, it was just always something. I used to line up my socks and magazines in my bedroom after school and drop it to my teacher and use my closet door as my chalkboard. But I know that that's not the case for everybody. And sometimes I'm inspired by my own children. I have two children of my own. One is a senior at Ohio University. Is going to be a senior in high school. And neither of them really have had that knowledge right from the get go of what they wanted to do has inspired me as a leader to try to find ways to allow students to have opportunities to explore different pathways, if you will, so that they have an idea of what they want to do after they graduate.
I'm not sure if things are different. I'm not sure what it is, but it does absolutely seem like kids are having a harder time. Maybe because there's so many options. The options, like the whole we couldn't even imagine some of the jobs that they have, right, to
And I
choose
think
from.
back to when I was in school and it's interesting because I was inspired by other family members who were in education. Neither of my parents were, but my grandma on one side was a kindergarten teacher, and my grandfather on the other side was a high school teacher. And then an aunt that I was very close with was also a high school teacher. And I just remember always wanting to go to school with them and grade papers. And so I think we see that in other people as well. Sometimes you veer toward what you know. Um, and so to your point, I don't remember as many opportunities outside of high school, career opportunities as there are today. Um, but I also don't remember as a high school student having the opportunity to explore options either.
Right, very true.
And while my kids are in a different district, but, have had a wonderful experience, K-12, they too have not really had the opportunity to explore, career pathways, and so I think that's something that I've learned from as a leader in a different district that I think that's important to have for our students. And that's something that we've worked very hard here over the last couple of years to implement so that our students are exposed, even in the elementary grades, to a wide variety of career pathways after high school so that when they continue through the grade levels and are ready to make that decision about postgraduate plans, they have an idea of what they want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much for sharing that bit about your background, and you wove in so nicely, like what inspired you to be, to become an educator. And, you even touched on what you like and what you love about, leading in a school district. So I appreciate that.
Sure.
With the last piece that you just shared, that makes me think about, where you all are where you all are now and where you're going as a school district. For our audience, the way the show works is we want to have Katie really shed some light on where her school district has been, what challenges they're seeing as they work ahead to get better outcomes for kids, and where they're going in the future. And so with that, I'd love to have you share with our audience a bit about your vision for teaching, learning, and innovation in Willoughby-Eastlake.
Sure, I'd love to. Our vision, our mission, all that we do is focused all on our core values and our portrait of a graduate competencies, if you will. And those are, kind of like the soft skills that we know students need to just be good people, being a good collaborator, being creative, being able to communicate and be a critical thinker, as well as being empathetic. Um, and so we focus a lot of what we do around our portrait competencies, but I would say that customized learning and academic excellence and student-centered learning. We're really focused on future readiness, and so from the very start, even as preschoolers and kindergartners, we want our students to have ample opportunities to understand what the portrait competencies are, have plenty of opportunities to participate in activities and where those in which those competencies are, nourished and they're able to grow. And then having an opportunity to assess them and like, are we producing the skilled learners that we're hoping to? So whether that's through capstone experiences or creating student portfolios, things like that. But it really all comes back to our shared vision focus areas and our commitments to our community and our families.
Yes, and you have a unique, your district is unique in that you serve several communities,
We do.
correct?
Mhm. We do. So, in our we're a little non-traditional in that we have 2 high schools in 1 district. We have, so we are there are 13 campuses in our district. We have 5 elementary schools. We have a, school of innovation, which is kind of a blended it's, serves 3rd through 8th grade, so partial elementary, partial middle school. We also have 3 middle schools and 2 high schools, and then, we're starting our own, career comprehensive for career tech ed. So we have a lot going on. We serve several communities as well, as you said.
Yeah, yes, you do. And you've mentioned in, a couple of pieces that, you're really trying to give kids opportunities and experiences for the future. And that's making me, want to shed some light on what you all are doing in terms of career and technical education.
Sure. So prior uh, coming up next year, starting in August, will be year 1 of our own, career comprehensive. Prior to that, as a lot of districts are, they belong to, like a consortium of schools. And what we learned was the problem with that was that, we might have 100 or even more students apply to have a seat in a program, say welding or cosmetology. And, because we're that how that worked before, several schools all got into the same program, and so maybe only 5 of our students would get accepted, and the others not because they weren't good enough or wouldn't have succeeded, it was just there was a limit. And we wanted to do better. We wanted to do better for our students, and we wanted to, have more opportunities for them. So our director of workforce development, Vicki Morley, has done a fantastic job leading the charge in creating our own career comprehensive. And so the path to that started by exploring career options in our younger grades as well. So in our middle school, we have career connections. 7th and 8th graders have the opportunity to just explore, Ohio's 16 career fields, just kinda like just dipping their toes and learning more about some of the postgraduate opportunities that they may have, and that our 9th to 10th graders are participating in, something called career capstones, and these are very project-based learning opportunities aligned to the career clusters. It's hands-on. They have a lot of opportunities in the different modules, and immersion hubs. It's been so cool to watch students really just choose their own path and just do a lot of exploration. And then, grade 11 and 12 would be the CTE pathways. So the in-depth training for careers, college and apprenticeships in the high demand fields. But even before 7th grade, our elementary grade levels, we recently adopted knowledge building curriculum 2 years ago. And through the knowledge blocks in the literacy blocks of instruction, our students, even in the kindergarten through second, our elementary grades are able to explore career pathways.
That's so cool.
Cool, because the level of engagement has just skyrocketed. The students are, um, they're actually learning content that might be beyond their years, but that's also why they're so involved in like the conversations and the learning that goes on that.
Yes. Okay. Now that's so cool. I'm thinking, okay, is there a specific example that you might be able to provide or an experience to kind of just
Sure.
bring that to life for us a little
Like,
bit?
the for our younger
Yeah.
parents, yeah, it's really something. Our curriculum is, CKLA, and, it's very like I said, it's knowledge-based, it's very comprehensive. Our students are involved in conversations about real world topics all the time. They see, real photos, not necessarily cartoon things. They're engaged in conversations with, maybe like they get to see videos or have people come in and speak that are in these fields. So, for example, in first grade, there's a unit that focuses on the human body, and so we have, midway points, in our, pacing guide where they have pause points, or pausing days, or at the end of the unit, they have culminating activities. And so our first graders take part in like a human body exploration day where they may dress up as doctors, or they may, explore different, you know, they talk about the digestive system or the human systems, if you will.
Yeah.
They have the opportunity to teach other adults or even other students in their school what they've learned, because what better way to ensure that someone has learned something by than let them teach it to some.
Exactly.
But the excitement and seeing that there's like, you would never think that a 6-year-old would be that excited about, the skeletal system as they are,
Right.
and it truly is something.
That is so neat. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. How fun. And I'm also curious about some of the changes that you all have been going through in terms of shifting practice with the emphasis on the importance of the science of reading, and that can sometimes be tricky for folks, right? It can be challenging. Will you share like just where you've been and where you're going with that?
Yeah. So I think it's important to share that, I as I said before, I taught 1st and 2nd grade, so I did teach in the foundation building years, and I did not teach what is aligned to the science of reading today.
Okay.
So I had to learn alongside of my staff when, I was building principal for, as I said, an elementary school, and this was a huge shift. I mean, we were asking teachers to essentially change the way that they taught students to read, and we really thought we were doing the right thing before, right? Like, no one comes to work and tries to do the wrong thing. It's
Right.
we've learned that that's not the best approach, and it was a little scary because I needed to learn. I learned it alongside of my staff. But I had some teachers that were very resistant, and I understand why. It was uncomfortable. They believed in what they were doing. When the science of reading, kind of came about and it became a focus for all of us here, I thought that the best approach was to just be supportive, know that this was going to be a slow process, but that we had to really learn the why before I asked anyone to change what they were doing. And so I involved my entire staff. We took part in book studies. We listened to some podcasts that are out there. We had a lot of discussion about what is this change going to look like in the classroom. Ohio had put out some modules that everyone had to complete, and we didn't just say like just complete these and submit your certificate, if you will, but
Yeah.
we actually worked through some of these things together. And then there are some other alternate pathways that you can do. Like, for example, our teachers went through the Wilson certification for reading intervention. And so I just tried to give as many tools for people to have in their tool belt so that they felt ready and they didn't feel scared. But for me, I think that the buy in with my staff was that I did it with them and I had the way that I taught. And so that was prior to coming to Willoughby-Eastlake, and they, the year before I joined here, had done a lot of the similar things. My elementary coordinator led the charge with that, and with the building principals, and they really did do a lot of work to learn, as well as what I shared from my experience in Kirtland. I've learned that you can't just ask someone to change their instruction or change the way, and you really have to give them the opportunities to understand the why, give new practices the opportunity, give an opportunity. And then when you see that the difference in the outcome, I think that's when our mindsets are willing to shift. When I noticed staff members embracing the change to the science of reading was when we saw our students so engaged in what we were asking them to do. And then we were seeing huge amounts of growth um,
That's so exciting.
in using the new resource that we had adopted. And we're in a place now where our the state has given us a list that you pick from, whether it be from diagnostic assessments or curriculum resources. And so, you have to pick from the list. Where we are now is that it's not new anymore. Teachers have embraced the structured literacy approach with a lot of professional learning, professional development, opportunities to sit and talk together. We've given teachers opportunities to do some professional visits, maybe outside of the district, inside, just go watch a colleague who,
Yeah.
you know, and that has those things have been very positive for us. Um, but now that we're seeing the benefit is when the mindset, people I think are willing to adapt or change the way that they believe. Um, and we know that early intervention is very important. And so we're really just trying to put focus on those foundational years in the primary grades so that we're not trying to fill gaps later than we're establishing leaders and writers, which we know will benefit students all the way, throughout their education years and beyond.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go back to something that you shared earlier and you mentioned again when you were explaining this journey that you've all been on with the science of reading. And that's, your experience as a first and second grade, right?
Yeah.
First and second grade teacher. And I just keep thinking of my experience, and how whenever I first started, I started as a substitute and, was substituting K through 8th grade.
Okay.
Um, and it was at a private school. I was only 19 at the time. And because it was a private school, I was allowed to do that.
Okay.
There weren't as many like restrictions, so but the littles just I just struggled with the babies, so the littles. I was like, and then I mean, I loved them, but figuring out and coordinating
Yeah.
a, a lot of 5 or 6 year olds
Oh,
was
yeah.
like,
Every educator should experience a kindergarten classroom. I really
yeah,
believe that. It is so challenging, but so rewarding. Um,
yeah,
and in some districts, students come to kindergarten with no preschool experience. And
right,
so, I just think it's so important. And I think there's value to experiencing a high school classroom as well, right? Like I don't
yeah,
no disrespect to the upper grades, but when you're truly just trying to teach a student how to be a student, teach a child how to be a student. Um, and that's something that, I'll go back to I mentioned earlier with our superintendent, Dr. Patrick Ward, joined this district. So he will be starting his fourth year here. But I think that one of the things that he has helped this entire district embrace is the importance of getting back to like the love of learning, letting kids be kids, not being school restricted to you have to be doing this at 10 o'clock and this at 1 o'clock, and letting our little kids play and just learn their portrait competencies through some I mean unstructured, but not crazy. I mean it's definitely
Yeah.
still uh, monitored with adults in the classroom, but giving them a voice and letting them have opportunities to choose their pathways and you know even our kindergarten and first grade teachers have now when students come in the morning, think back to when you were a student. You probably came in the morning and sat at your desk and wrote in a journal, or you
Yeah.
probably had one choice or maybe two if you were lucky. And now we've morphed into this where we're giving students an opportunity where they come in and like maybe they want to go build with Legos and participate in what we're, busy bins, if you will. And there might be some students who want to sit and write in a journal. And there might be students who want to like go into a cozy corner with a book, and that's okay. But life is about choices. And I think that school should mirror that. Because think about when you wake up in the morning, you have choice and voice in how your day goes. We have to let students do that in the classroom as well.
I love that. And what a neat place. It sounds like such a cool place. Where you there was something else on your mind?
I was just gonna say, I think that, teachers have had they've been excited to have that permission, if you will, to just, like, let it up a little bit. Just
Yeah.
some of us have to not everything has to be structured, and we all stick to a master schedule, and we're not saying, let craziness take in, but we're also saying, try something new if you want to, fail forward. If it doesn't work, we're here to support you and try something else, and that takes time. It also takes teachers and staff members, the opportunities to ensure that we're not just saying that, but we're actually practicing it. And so we continue as leaders, our leadership team continues to show up. Our principals are very involved as, they're the academic leaders of their building. And so they're very involved in what's going on in the classroom. And so then that gives teachers, I guess, a willingness um, to just change the experience for students. That's what we're doing here in Willoughby-Eastlake. We don't want school to look like it always has. And if there's something that we hear Dr. Ward say constantly, it's that we owe this to our kids and they should have voice and choice in their learning experiences, regardless of their age.
They absolutely should, and that is so super exciting. Where could someone go if they wanna learn more about, your district? Maybe they are looking for a new place to send their kiddos or a new place to call home as a teacher or an administrator.
So we're Willoughby-Eastlake City Schools. We have our website, weschools.org. And then, you can find us on all social media, Facebook, X, Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to, share anything more with anyone who is interested. We are really trying to continue to share our story and just share about the expanding opportunities that all of our students have because you may not know. And so that's, one of the reasons why I appreciate the opportunity today to talk about what great things are going on here, what amazing people we have serving our students.
Yeah.
And so thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for being on this show. One last thing. This season, I am wanting to give our guests an opportunity to honor, recognize, or give a shout out to someone who's really had a positive impact on your life as an educator and educational leader. Who might that be that you may want to honor today and why?
So I think I'll kind of do it to, I'll split that if that's okay with you. I always
Sure.
go back to my own kids. And a lot of their experiences have shaped my leadership. And I know that all parents want the best experience for their kids as I have. And as I see them experience school, I think that helps me either change or embrace or even try to strengthen the opportunities that I'm able to lead here. And then I would also say the person who pushed me out of the classroom to be a leader. So a former principal of mine when I was teaching, I was happy just continuing in the classroom. And she said, I think it's time. I think you should, consider a leadership opportunity. And it was very scary to me because I had been teaching for a long 18 years. I was going to just continue. And she said, I think it's time for you to look for a change. And so that was kind of the boost that I needed to become a building leader. And from there, my career has blossomed. So I'm grateful, and of course, the Dr. Ward for giving me the opportunity here to lead a large district and through a lot of very exciting change.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Katy.
Thank you so much, Wendy. I really appreciate our time together. I love the podcast. I've enjoyed listening to several of the episodes, and I will continue to listen to previous seasons.
Awesome. Woohoo. Well, that's a wrap.
Thank you for joining us on Unlock 360. If this conversation sparked new thinking, share it with a colleague and keep the dialogue going in your school district. Public education is complex work, and progress happens when leadership and teaching move together. I'm Wendy York Davoud. Until next time, keep building the systems that unlock what's possible, because strong leadership drives deeper learning.